Ethiopia, once called the Hidden Empire, is a mountainous country on the Horn of East Africa. It was once occupied by the Italian army in the 1930s, but never colonized. Ethiopia has a rich cultural history. It is an ancient land of strong traditions and beliefs. Much has happened in Ethiopia in recent centuries, but not much has changed. Ethiopia is famous as the home of the Ark of the Covenant that carried God's commandments to Moses. Monolithic rock-hewn churches and monasteries. The ruins of long-lost civilizations, and is the source of the Blue Nile floods that enriched Egypt in biblical times. Ethiopians by nature are gentle, humble, kind, and generous. They are also among the poorest of the poor. They have suffered famine, civil war, and disease, and yet they struggle on hopefully, with faith. What follows is a story about a few small children who must live in a hospital in the capital city of Addis Ababa. They suffer from a little-known disease. This is also the story of two doctors, one American and one Ethiopian, whose mission it is to treat and heal these children.
And none of them are related. How do you think they're going to feel psychologically when they leave here? Because they're going to lose a lot of...
Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Wagner, founder and executive director of Global ENT Outreach. Through Global ENT Outreach, I heard about these 11 young kids hospitalized in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They suffer from a little-known disease called laryngeal papillomatosis, a viral illness causing blockage to the airway. They cannot leave the hospital. In fact,
he can't imagine doing anything else. And there is a backstory here. Ethiopia, having returned to a democratic form of government after years of despotic dictatorial rule, has a fragile democracy at best. The previous communist regime left the country's infrastructure a shambles. A recent contested election resulted in the distrustful, hard-pressed population losing confidence in the new government. Violence erupted in the streets. Demonstrations led to government-sanctioned shootings of demonstrators by soldiers in the marketplace. There were the usual accusations and rumors of corruptions. Stories of mass arrests, tortures, and falsified counts of the numbers of dead and wounded flashed throughout Addis. In addition, there were the usual anticipated problems associated with performing surgeries in one of the world's poorest nations. Crumbling hospitals, incompatible electricity, untrained nurses, the shortage of all supplies including critical drugs, poor sanitation, language and cross-cultural issues, and the limitations of time. For the children living in Black Line Hospital, none of this mattered. Treatment for them is a matter of life or death.
And now, second time, my laser apparatus was not working, so I just did tracheostomy because it was obstructed.
But we're going to use a new technique now. We're going to use a microdebrider, which is safer, faster, less complications, and hopefully we can get these kids so they can start yelling at each other rather than being the silent world that you've created here for them and save their lives.
This is how it works. Really, the only way it can work. Richard and a baby are both intelligent, realistic men.
This is the extra power cable. We got 3 tips, okay? We got 2 laryngeal tips, okay? This is a 4 millimeter.
They solve one problem at a time. It is not tunnel vision. They are certainly aware of the wider world and all its problems. But these men are goal-oriented. They see the next patient, the next small face of a child in terrible need, and they go to work, focused, to get the job done.
Yesterday you were worried about papilloma.
One child has a chance now in the world congested with billions of people in need. With the gratification that comes with this knowledge, they find a kind of quiet courage.
Okay, where do we change here? We're going. It's okay to leave this here.
At the end of weeks of surgeries, all the children living at Black Lion have had their airways cleared. For some, the papilloma blocking their throat will grow back and the procedure will have to be repeated.
Up here. This is right.
That's the original, right? Okay, so you have a large papilloma there on the right, right follicle.
But eventually, the virus causing the obstruction will be defeated. For now, though, the children can resume school, learn their alphabet, become literate and grow to be productive people. And after months or even years away from home, finally they can return to their families. Their children's return home will not be easy. For those from the rural area, life is difficult. Children of both genders labor hard to help their families scratch out a living. Life for a child in one of Ethiopia's cities may be different, but not necessarily easier. But as difficult and as uncertain as their future may be, the children of Black Lion can breathe. They can live outside the hospital. They can have a chance at life.
And it's Dr. Bebe. If it wasn't for him, his motivation to help these children, and his use of his resources to help get me here, none of these kids would ever leave the hospital. They'd live here the rest of their lives. No, baby, we have to go see the nurse now, right? The head nurse? Yeah.
A baby and Richard will review what they have accomplished and what they have learned. They will plan for the next trip, for the next surgery, the next child, one at a time. A baby will admit new patients to fill the places of those gone home. He will work with new skills and equipment. He will train others and become an agent of change. He will get to the hospital early each day after he drops his son off at school. He will hope his country does not devolve into chaos again, so he may continue to work and heal the children. Richard will return home to his wife with a new understanding and new friends in Ethiopia. He will work the phones and the internet to find more supplies, new funding and other doctors willing to help. He will teach and explain. He will relentlessly cajole and persuade others to contribute.
And I'll have to say, having traveled the world, I've lived overseas and I've worked in 7 foreign countries. Ethiopia is definitely a unique country. The people here, you don't find any better people in the world. The physicians, they need a lot of help. They're reaching out to every one of us. Everybody's got the right idea here, you know, in helping people. And it was Margaret Mead, the famous anthropologist, who said, it only takes a small group of people to make a difference. And indeed, that's the only thing that it ever has. And I'm not trying to say that governments don't do good for the people, but you know, sometimes I really wonder what they do. And I know what we do has really been effective, and let's just keep it up.
These 2 men, Richard and a baby, are the embodiment of simple, goal-oriented practicality. After all, what else can they do with their years of hard-won experience and skill? Save this troubled world? Maybe not, but they can try to save the next child from suffocation.